Life is all about balance. You don't always need to be getting stuff done. Sometimes it's perfectly okay and oftentimes necessary to shut down, kick back, and do nothing. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I am Theodore Henry. You don't want to miss a minute of today's show as we tackle matters relating to the National Insurance Scheme. Stay tuned.
Are you aware of how Jamaican adolescents use social media? What do they do online? What do they post? Do you know if they are being harassed? These are questions you should be asking yourself because it is your duty to keep your children safe online. Parents, here's what you need to do. Be active online and offline. Help your child to set up his or her online profile. Make sure you familiarize yourself with the different social media applications that they use and set some rules. Protect our nation's children and save them from cybercriminal attacks.
In April 2019, NIS contributions increased from 5% of an individual's salaries to 5.5%. Come April 1, 2020, there will be a further increase to 6%. In today's program, we tell you why and much more you need to know about the National Insurance Scheme.
Welcome to Get the Facts. It's a program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm your host, Enthros Campbell. In April 2019, the NIS contributions increased from 5% of the individual salaries to 5.5%. Come April 1, 2020, there'll be a further increase from 5.5% to 6%. In today's program, we'll tell you why the increase and much more about the National Insurance Scheme. Our resource person is Portia Magnus, who is the Director of National Insurance in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. Ms. Magnus, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Ms. Campbell.
Really happy to have you. Tell me now, before we go into the increase in the contributions, tell us a little about the NIS.
Well, the NIS is Jamaica's, should I say, social insurance program. It's a full social security program offering a range of benefits to contributors, and we also make provision for their dependents as well. And the requirement basically is that persons register and contribute to the scheme so that they will be able to qualify for a benefit.
Okay, register. How does one register?
Very simple. We do registration for individuals. Very simple form. You complete the form. You provide the supporting documents, which would include a valid photo ID or TRN, proof of birth, and within a few minutes you get your NIS number.
Okay, so isn't that automatic once you become
18? Yes. But you can register. The law makes provision for persons to register upon attaining the age of 18.
Okay.
So you don't have to wait until you're employed.
Okay, good. All right. Tell us now about this increase in contribution. It would have been like the first time since you're increasing the contributions?
The contribution, in terms of the contribution rate, yes, it's the first time. It started last year, as you said. We do have a slate of increases, which we call a part of the reform measures to help to strengthen the sustainability, address the sustainability of the scheme. And so we moved from 5% to 5.5% last year, and then it will also increase further to 6% in April of this year. And then in the following year, in 2022, the insurable wage ceiling will also move from $1.5 million to $3 million, and the following year to $5 million.
All right. So tell us the increase. It doesn't say that we're paying a total 5.5% or the total 6%.
No.
Tell us how that is apportioned.
Well, it really depends on the category of contributor. So for employed persons, you don't own your own business, so your employer contributes on your behalf. Then half of the 5.5%, which would be 2.75%, is deducted from your salary up to what we call the insurable wage ceiling, which is $1.5 million. And then that amount is matched by your employer. So come now April, then the amount to be deducted from our salaries, myself being an employee, would be 3% of my gross salary, and then this amount is to be matched by the employer.
Right.
For self-employed persons, however, now the full the full contribution rate is applicable to the, as you can imagine, the self-employed person.
Okay, but there are some persons though who pay a fixed amount, like helpers and so on. Tell us about that.
Right, so we do have a category 2 for minimum contribution, and so this is applicable not just to domestic workers, but we have another category called voluntary contributors, and they contribute at the minimum level, and that amount increased from $150 to $200 in January of this year. They use what we call, well, I call it an antiquated method, which we intend to change, of the NIS stamp card, and then our specially made NIS stamps. Now, what is important here is that the contribution is made for the entire year, and so it's not necessarily the value of the stamps, as some persons believe, but more so the value of the contribution. So the cards make provision for each week of the year, generally 52 weeks, and then one stamp or the value of the stamp for the entire year.
Right. What did you say were increasing the amounts? Remind us, tell us.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, we noticed that from 2007, consistently, the amount of money that we paid out for benefits exceeded what we're getting in as contributions. And you know that is unsustainable. And our actuarial report as at March 31, 2013 actually showed that this is really, it really is not sustainable, that by 2025 we would have a negative cash flow, and that by 2033 there will be no money at all. And if this happens, then the responsibility to pay the benefits falls to the contribution fund, the consolidated fund rather, which we really cannot allow to happen. And so with some other studies were done, and we made a proposal to the cabinet. We got approval for a slate of increases in the contribution rate to ensure that the NIS will be able to pay the benefits for a long time.
So the money that you put in is that you get out, right?
No.
No.
In fact, the benefit is quite generous relative to the contribution rate. And in fact, we do have the smallest contribution rate in the entire Caribbean. And you will find that over a short period of time, the persons will receive, all our pensioners really get back what they would have put in a short period of time, and we pay for life once you get a pension. Yes. So invariably, persons get back more than they would have contributed to this scheme, because it's redistributive in nature.
But people always complain that the NIS it's so small.
But the contribution rate is small.
Okay, how do you calculate how much we get vis-a-vis what we put in? Is there a formula?
There is a formula, okay. So in terms of your pension payment, there are two components to it. You have what we call a flat rate, which is based on the average week's contributions made during your working life, or I should say the insurable period, and also your wage-related portion. Now, the wage-related portion is based on the money value of all your contributions that you would have made. So the first level to pass really is in terms of the flat rate. So how many weeks contributions did you make during the insurable period? Now, your insurable period is from age 18 up to retirement if we're looking at the retirement pension, because we do have a slate of benefits, right? And then we do that computation. It will give us the average weeks. Your average number of weeks determines the flat rate pension that you are paid. Yes. The flat rate pension, now we have three rates: half rate, a three-quarter rate, yes, and a full rate, all based on a range of weeks, average weeks. Now, we do want persons to get the highest rate possible, which is the full rate, which right now is $3,400 per week.
That's a full rate?
That's the full rate, plus your wage-related portion.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's 3,400 plus
the wage-related portion per week.
Yes, which is based on how much you would have put in?
Yes.
Yes.
So the dollar value of your contributions, now we apply a formula to it and we add that to your flat rate, and that gives you your full pension.
Good.
Yes.
But there are more benefits, and we're going to talk about that right after the break. We take a break now. We come back with more discussion on the National Insurance Scheme. Please stay with us.
If you've ever wondered what your property taxes are used for, wonder no more. Your property taxes provide revenue for the provision of public and community amenities throughout Jamaica, which are delivered by local government officials. When you pay your property taxes, you aid with the maintenance and expansion of our street lighting to ensure you are not walking in the dark at nights, the collection and disposal of solid waste to prevent the pileup of garbage in communities, the improvement of our community infrastructure, and repairs to fire stations and service vehicles, along with rehabilitation of our roads. Pay your property taxes online, in line, or via mobile tax units and avoid being sought by the government. For more information, visit the Tax Administration website at www.jamaicatax.gov.jm or call 876-902-9463.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. We continue our discussion with Ms. Portia Magnus, who is the Director of National Insurance in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. So before we went to the break, we were talking about benefits. Tell us about some other benefits under the NIS.
Yes, well, we do have what we call a basket of benefits, and we describe them as impacting on persons from in the womb to beyond the tomb. So it's not just retirement, which is what most persons think of when they hear NIS. So we do have a maternity allowance for domestic workers.
We do?
Yes, we do. And so it is very important that our domestic workers contribute to the NIS, because the maternity leave law does not make provision for helpers to be paid while on maternity leave. But once they contribute to the NIS, then they get the maternity allowance, which is actually 8 weeks at the existing or the prevailing, the national minimum wage.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
And there's no limit to the number of allowances that would be paid for domestic workers.
You can have as many babies as you want to get a benefit.
Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth.
Yes,
right?
no, we're not.
All right.
We're not encouraging that.
We also have a range of employment injury benefits. We have, in terms of paying for medical treatment, paying a cash award. Now, these two are linked to the number of sick days that you would have gotten, leave from the doctor. We have employment injury disablement pension. This is based on a diagnosis by our medical doctor. And we also have employment injury death benefit. We also have another benefit type, the invalidity pension. Again, this is related to illness. Now, employment injury speaks to being injured on the job and developing a disease that is related to your occupation. Invalidity is different. This is where somebody gets have an illness that renders them permanently unable to work, and so the NIS kicks in here. Naturally, then, you would have to be younger than the age of retirement, and 65 years, yes? We also have survivor benefits, both for children and the surviving spouses, as well as the popular one, the retirement pension.
Yes.
Now, once you are awarded a pension by the NIS, you automatically qualify to receive health insurance, which is called NI Gold. We have a funeral grant as well.
Tell us about the funeral grant. How do you get the funeral grant? What should you do, and how much is it?
Well, the funeral grant right now is $90,000. To access the funeral grant, you either have to be a contributor to the NIS or a pensioner or the spouse of a pensioner or a contributor of the NIS. Now, there's a requirement in terms of contributions. So the first hurdle is to actually pass the requirement for us, meet that requirement to earn the funeral grant. This is payable to the person who actually covers the funeral expense of the deceased.
Yes.
And in cases, let's say you are married and one spouse did not contribute to the NIS and that spouse dies, then let's say the surviving spouse or another person pay the funeral expense. Because the surviving spouse was a contributor to the NIS, a funeral grant is also available.
Yes. And there's an orphan's pension as well?
Yes. In terms of children now, we do have we have two categories, special child and orphan. Orphan is self-explanatory.
Yes.
Both parents would have died. The special child now is where the mother was the primary caregiver and the identity of the father is not known.
Right. if we want to find out more about the benefits, tell us where we can find the information.
Well, on the website of the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, of which the National Insurance Scheme is a part, and that is www.mlss.gov.jm, or any of the parish offices of the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, commonly called NIS office in the parishes.
Okay, good. So now, yes, we have benefits, but they take so long. How can we ensure that we get our monies faster?
Faster? Well, for one, the first thing is, instead of waiting until retirement, give us a call or come by the office, or when we're out doing public education, tell us that you would like to know about your contributions to ensure that all the years that you would have been working at, we have received the contributions for. On our part, what we have been doing is trying to digitize our records and to automate the benefit and approval processes. So we have digitized over 90,000 records so far. We have also started the automation of our funeral grant benefit, and that is being piloted now at our Kingston and St. Andrew.
So the thing to do is to start looking about your contribution before
from early.
Yes, and early is like a year before?
No. Yes. From you've started working. So you have the liberty to contact us anytime at all to find out, were my contributions remitted last year?
Yes, okay.
Yes.
All right. Now you've changed the mode of distributing the funds to the beneficiaries. Now give everybody a card. You no longer have them go to the post office?
Well, we're in the process. So we have different modalities of payment. So here in Jamaica, we still do pay by pension order books, which are like checkbooks.
You still do that, yes.
Yes, we still do. But we also pay directly into the bank accounts of persons.
Yes. So when you start, I know you're going to be eventually giving everybody a card, but do you plan to do some kind of orientation?
Well, it's not necessarily giving persons a card per se.
No, I mean, you probably
send it to their bank accounts. Right, we have started that already.
Yes. And tell me about the retirement age. And you said it was 60, and 60, it is 60?
Well, when the NIS started, the retirement age for us is the age at which the persons now would be eligible to receive the retirement pension. When the NIS started in 1966, it was always 65 for men. However, for women, it was 60.
Yes.
And in April 2011, we started changing the age to equate it with that of the men. And so each month, we added another month to the retirement age. So we are actually phasing to equate it to 65. So we're still in the process.
Are there penalties for persons who do not make NIS contributions?
Well, for the employers, yes.
For the employers.
Right, there's a 20% interest on arrears.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And now, in terms of the domestic workers and the self-employed, there's a time restriction within which you are able to make late contributions. So we do actually have a cutoff point. So beyond a certain point, you can't contribute once it's late, because then we cannot be selling you a pension.
Some persons are exempt from making these contributions?
Exemption in the sense that, let's say now, when you become 18, that's when you are able to register and begin contributing to the NIS once you are working and earning an income. If you are not yet working and you're over 18, then you would not yet be eligible to contribute to the NIS. Someone who is 70 now, in the NIS, we have what we call a deemed retirement age. So let's say whether or not you're working now at 70, some persons do work beyond 70. Yes. At this point, you are no longer required to contribute to the NIS, whether or not you're working.
Okay. All right, some useful information. Tell us, is there anything that you haven't told us that we need to know now?
Well, it's just that it is very important to contribute consistently to the NIS. For employers, it's very important too that if you're having a financial challenge, any financial difficulties, do come in and speak with us. We will make we will make payment arrangements with you. If you don't, this is where we will take you to court, and we will apply the 20% interest charge, yes.
Thank you so very much for sharing with us today on Get the Facts.
My pleasure.
This has been Get the Facts. Our guest was Portia Magnus, who is the Director of National Insurance in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. The National Insurance Scheme, the NIS, offers financial protection to contributors and their families against loss of income arising from injury on the job, incapacity, retirement, and or death of the insured. Ensure that your contributions are up to date. Do not lose out on your benefit. Until next time, when Get the Facts brings you more of the information that you need. I'm Rose Campbell. Thanks for watching and take good care.
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it.
No dash no paper, no dash no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick. And if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics last forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where they fish them feed. And when you want seafood, I eat your
Keep
eat.
we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica.
We've been talking about plastic and polystyrene quite a lot lately, but the message can never be enough until we are all on board. Check this out.
On September 17, 2018, the government of Jamaica announced a policy to implement a ban on single-use plastic scandal bags, plastic drinking straws, and expanded polystyrene foam products used in the food and beverage industry in 3 phases starting January 1st, 2019. The ban is but one measure to safeguard the nation's natural and built environments. The government is extremely pleased with the overwhelming positive reaction, national reaction, and response to the policy announcement. The support is estimated at over 90% coming from the sector groups, other stakeholders, and consumers in general. Clear evidence of the positive response is a rapid disappearance of single-use plastic bags and plastic straws from the trade and a pronounced behavior change and attitude coming from the Jamaican people. I wish to pause to congratulate all of Jamaica for the support and buy-in to this well-needed environmental policy. We have now moved, as of January 1st, 2020, to phase 2 of the ban, which restricts the manufacture and distribution and use of expanded polystyrene foam, styrofoam products in the food and beverage industry. However, we expect an even smoother transition from the use of these polystyrene products to the alternatives on the market for the single reasons that persons and businesses have had a much longer time to prepare themselves for the ban. I believe that 15 months is more than adequate time for businesses to identify suitable alternative packaging at cost-effective prices. We also expect that the prices for the alternatives will trend downwards in the coming months, based on the fact that businesses would have retooled as well as the competition in the marketplace. Let me reiterate, the government will be taking strong enforcement action against those persons and companies that do not comply with the ban. Jamaica Customs Agency has also held firm at the ports of entry, confiscating banned items, preventing them from entering the trade. To date, 6 businesses have been fined under the NRCA Plastic Packaging Materials Prohibition Order, and another 30 business persons and individuals will also be charged and face the court in the coming weeks. The maximum fine under the Trade Act is $2 million, while under the NRCA Order 2018, the fine is $50,000. Both carry a term of imprisonment of 2 years, respectively. As was the case with the ban on single-use plastics, the Ministry and NEPA are again partnering on an extensive public awareness program regarding the styrofoam ban. So we have visited the parishes of Manchester and St. Catherine, and it is still early days regarding feedback, but it is noted that a number of establishments in these parishes are compliant. Since the ban, the country has witnessed a pronounced reduction of plastics in terrestrial and marine environment. We have observed significant behavior and attitude change with regard to the banned items, and Jamaican calling for the banning of more items such as plastic utensils, Pampers, and other plastic food containers. There are several business opportunities for large corporations, and MSMEs have also blossomed from this initiative, with business being developed to specialize in the alternatives. At the core of the policy's implementation is a greater focus on pollution control with the aim of improving the lives of all Jamaicans, as well as safeguarding public health and the environment. The measures we are adopting has Jamaica at heart, and it is Jamaica that will ultimately be the winner.
The first case we had was of 7 Indian nationals who were trafficked, and where they were found, they were living where the dogs were living. They were not fed, just given scraps. So those are just some real male stuff.
If you know of someone who is being trafficked, call the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Arm of the Jamaica Constabulary Force at 876-967-5627 or 876-967-1389.
Thanks for watching another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Join us tomorrow when we'll do this all over again. Send your feedback on today's show to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm. Also, follow us on our social media pages and download our app on your Apple and Android devices. You can also visit our website at jis.gov.jm for more information. On behalf of the entire production crew, I am Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.